Always something you've been tracking for years.
Definitely, and it impacts all of us. Just think about all the plastic that litters our beaches, our oceans, and our cities. Well, California's plastic pollution law, known as SB 54, was designed to tackle this issue. It shifts the responsibility of managing the plastic waste away from local governments and from consumers, and putting it instead on the companies that produce it. Now, under the law, by 2032, single-use plastic packaging must be cut by 25%. 65% of remaining plastic must be recycled, and 100% of all single-use plastic packaging must be either recyclable or compostable. But in order to make this happen, CalRecycle, the agency in charge, must finalize regulations on how exactly producers and recyclers will comply. Now, the deadline to submit those rules is tomorrow. Some California lawmakers, including Congresswoman Luz Rivas, are urging Governor Newsom to ensure the deadline is met. They're concerned delays could weaken the law.
There is some concern because if it gets pushed back, then there's room to make changes. And, there are special interests that want to make changes to weaken this law. This is one of the strongest plastics, bills in the world, right? And California leads on these issues, on climate, on the environment, and we need to set the example.
Now, Rivas warns that missing the deadline could give industry groups the chance to delay or dilute the regulations, especially at a time when environmental protections are facing rollbacks under the Trump administration.
California is known to stay strong and to pass legislation that is strongest environmental in the world. And any, opening up any loophole or any weakness will show that we're no longer that leader in the world.
Now, a spokesperson for Governor Newsom confirmed they did receive the letter from Rivas along with Representatives Jared Huffman and Laura Friedman. They responded that California is committed to achieving the goals of SB 54 and cutting down on plastic pollution. They say we take stakeholder input seriously and are considering all options for successful implementation. Now, CalRecycle, they also say that they're working to finalize the rulemaking package by the March 7th deadline. They've engaged extensively with stakeholders, saying that they've received over 5,000 public comments on the proposed regulations. So, Kelvin, there is still time, obviously. March 7th is tomorrow. They have until then. But it is getting close, so we will stay on top of this to make sure, are they going to hit the deadline, or does it in fact need to be pushed back?
There's so much that they're trying to accomplish with this. And again, you've been covering this stuff for years for us here. But what about the plastic industry? They're seeing this. They're seeing politicians speak about it. What are they saying about these changes?
Well, they are a major stakeholder in this, obviously. The financial burden is on them. They have to ensure that their material is recyclable or compostable. So they are, a big voice in this. Some might even say they have too much control, too much of a voice. However, talking with Congresswoman Luz Rivas, she says weakening of the language would be problematic. Something like chemical recycling, some plastic producers want, which just means that the material would just change. It's not necessarily being recyclable. And so she wants to ensure that there isn't wiggle room to obviously weaken, that we stay on target to ensure that the packaging does remain recyclable or compostable to hit those targets. Any delays, of course, could push those targets back.
She mentions California is one of those states that rarely wavers on things like that.
Yeah.
We'll see. And you enlightened me so much about how much of we think that we're saving in plastic and recycling actually isn't that. We only use like 9% of the stuff.
Yeah, that's right. You throw your stuff in the blue bin, you do your part, and only about 9% of it actually gets recycled. And so going to material that is recyclable or compostable, starting at the source, is how we're going to get out of this mess.
Sarah, on top of it, as always, thank you so much. All right.